GT3. It is the car that started the whole Porsche GT division thing.
So the OG.
Yeah, the original gangster.
The OG built in the Porsche Motorsports factory.
So it's got that 3.6 Mezger engine, which is the bomb-proof version from the beginning. Tell us a bit more about it, Dave, because you got quite a bit going on.
Yeah, so a little bit of history on the car. So prior to this car, an E46 M3, and it was a great car, but it's just one of those things that where do you go from an M3? And I think the logical progression is obviously the GT3. So the problem with the GT3 is that, you know, they're pretty expensive. Even back when I was looking to buy this car back in 2016, these things weren't that cheap. And so pretty much looking around and toying with the idea of the GT3. Then a mate of mine who actually helped source the car originally from the UK said the Australian owner of the car decided he didn't want the car anymore, wanted to sell it. So I managed to pick up the car for a decent, I thought was a decent price at the time, which was about £40,000 back in 2016. And I think one of the things that sort of gave me confidence about this car was the amount of money that has been spent on this car, looking after it and looking, and sort of the upkeep and refurb. Even though this car now today is 23 years old, it had $45,000 worth of refurbs when it arrived in Australia. So I think that gave it a pretty good setup, and I think ever since then, the stuff you sort of do maintenance, and I've had a couple of gearbox issues that I've since sorted, but I think right now where it is, it's an amazing car, a very raw experience to drive, completely different from the M3, but you know, it's one of those things, it definitely does feel like my forever car. So I think the thing I want to share with Shao before he heads back to Australia is, you know, one last drive. He's driven this on track before, so I mean, we'll give you a little bit more commentary on that, but you know, Shao, I think this is your last drive before you head over to Australia, so I want you to sort of leave with sort of fond memories.
Yeah, thanks Dave. It's a bit of a dream car, and you can see on the inside it's a little bit modified from the normal GT3. I think this has got the GT3 RS Cage inside, is that right? Yeah, so I'm going to say this car's obviously not standard by any means. It started out life as a comfort pack, so like normal seats, no cage, and obviously it doesn't have that fancy RS style wing. So I think over its life, someone said, I want to make this more of a RS track focused car. So I think it's had an engine remap, although I don't know what the specifics of that were, nor the power output. I've never dynoed the car. It's also had a different exhaust, and then I think coming back to the UK, I had to refit some high flow cats. So they're the main mods. But I think the cage is, I'm not sure if it's considered an RS cage, but it's the full cage that's standard in the RS. So you can kind of see the side bits. And the roof, and it just connects into the rear half of the cage, which is standard on the Clubsports, and obviously the Clubsport seats. These are awesome Recaros, like yeah, very, it just really grips you, holds you in really tight.
Yeah, these are, I think, it's a bit polarizing because some people don't like the styling, but it's very distinctive 996 GT3.
Yeah.
And the weird thing in this is the seats are different. The driver's seat is more narrow. So you gotta be fit to fit into one. I think it's pretty tight. Yeah. And then if you look through the back window, you can see the RS big wing as well. So normally the GT3 comes with a taco wing, which I
think with time I've come to like it quite a bit. But when I first saw them, I definitely hated them. But yeah, this has got the big boy.
Yep. So I think the only other mods on the car that I'm aware of are it's got Mark II front brakes. I think the original brakes were only 4-pod. These are 6-pod now, and slightly bigger discs. And then we've got some Brembo GT3 discs, I think they're called. And then when I got it, I fit the Advan TC3 flow formed wheels, which give it that sort of different vibe with the JDM on a Euro, which I'm a huge fan of. So
yeah, definitely love the JDM wheels on Euro, especially when it's like a Euro hero car. Definitely. The thing with I find in the BMW and Porsche scene is sometimes there's a slight lack of imagination. Just probably because they build the car so well. A lot of people just go down the same route in terms of how the car looks and the mods. So it's very rare you see JDM wheels on a Porsche. London driving for this.
Yep, not ideal, but it's at least it's a last drive. So Shao can have a little bit of fun before he goes. Maybe we'll take it to some back roads later on this afternoon. But we'll see how we go.
Yeah, another thing to mention is I think the standout thing about this is it's speed yellow. It's probably my favorite color. Color, and I don't know, something about the 90s where it's hard to find interesting colored cars. Like there's a lot of cars that's just silver or black. I think they're the two colors you see nearly every car spec like that. There's some dark blues, but yeah, never something like a speed yellow. So it's very rare, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think the car when it came back, it was in proper race livery with a green and black wrap. And I think I was toying with the idea of whether I rewrap it or whether I, restore it back to the original color. So we peeled back all the wrap, and then we kind of saw that it was all prepped for paint or prepped in some way, and it needed to be either painted or wrapped. And I thought the original speed yellow would be a really good way to just sort of bring it a little bit more back to the original spec. And I haven't regretted it since. It sticks out like a sore thumb and everybody looks at it. So, it's a fun car to own, to be honest.